All right. Okay. So welcome to our team call. We have the amazing Diamond Ambassador, Stephanie Abrams. We are so excited to get to hear her story and hear from her. And if you have heard her talk before, I have to say she's just one of those people that just makes you feel so at ease because she's so down to earth, and I just absolutely love hearing her talk about the business and her life and her story, and just sort of, that's really all I wanted from her. A lot of times when we do these guest calls, there's some, specific agenda that we have that we're working on, but I really just wanted you to hear Stephanie's story. So I'm not going to keep talking. I'm going to turn it over, and welcome to our team call. This is Team Legacy. We're pretty pumped about the theme of convention this year.
Yeah, that is so neat. So your name has been Legacy from the beginning?
From day one, yeah, from 2013.
That is too cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, yes. Hey guys, I am so really honored to be here. It's kind of funny. I was just thinking a little bit ago, like when I was new and I'd watched all these calls and wrote all these notes down of all these diamonds that are, mentors that I've just looked up to for so long. And I used to think like, I wonder when I get to diamond, somebody's going to ask me for a Zoom. What am I going to say? I don't want to say, I'm so honored to be here, but I really am. I mean, it's just such a joy to be able to share with you guys. And it means a lot that someone wants to hear something that I might have to say and that it might be worthwhile. So,
see, don't you love her already?
Oh, goodness, guys. Yeah, so I'm sorry if I was late. We were outside, we went walking, and then if you could smell me, I smell like four-wheeler exhaust because I took the kids around the yard on our little four-wheeler for a bit, and then I was like, all right, time to come in.
Do you know that I used that picture for the graphic in my TV?
Oh, funny.
Yeah. Well, it was public, so I always choose something that's public. So that's pretty funny that you said that.
Yeah, no, that's us. That's our real life. And so we've been in Alaska now for 9 years. My husband was Bush baby, born and raised out where he grew up. It's actually, you can't reach it by road. You have to fly by plane. And so he's been up here. My dad was military. We got stationed here, and we had a church we loved. Long story short, met through the church, got married, and so 9 years, 3 babies, and 4 years in Plexus. So Elizabeth Spohn is actually, okay, so her husband, Carl, who's a Sapphire, is my direct sponsor, but I'm signed under Elizabeth Spohn. She's Alaska's first diamond. And she had told me about Plexus 5 years ago now. And I was trying to desperately lose baby weight. And I hate saying that now because we are not a weight loss company. It is so much gut health. And so she had invited me over for lunch, and she had that very first catalog. You remember the big tacky, like pink and blue-ish one? Our very first one. And she had it on the counter. And so she started telling me about this and blood sugar. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's nice. And just wasn't interested, but I'd seen her post on Facebook every now and then, sprinkled through. I'd ask her questions, she'd share a little bit, and then we go on with life. And then it took me a few months, but I decided to join. It was a Black Friday special, and that's the only reason I joined. It's because it was on sale. And then I'm like the worst ambassador that you want, okay? So give grace and love to even those people, because I signed up. It was when we got the 4 packets of Slim in one thing. So I was like, I want the best deal. And then I'm not setting a subscription up. Don't ask me to sell the products, nothing. And then I got it and I tasted it, and then I put the rest in the pantry. So I didn't even take the products consistently for a while, until one day I was just like looking in the mirror, and I just finished this horrid workout, sweating and not seeing any results still after 2 months. I was like, fine, where is that stuff? So I started it, loved the results. And then Liz said, you should really post on Facebook, because I'm sure you have friends that have the same issues. And so I was like, Liz, I can't post on Facebook. I literally posted like 4 times a year. I mean, it was really, really bad. When my daughter was born, I did her first picture, you know, like welcome my child to the world, and I got 11 likes. I mean, like zero social influence at all. 11 likes and 3 comments. So it was really bad. So I was like ground zero, nothing to work with here. And I'm not really sure what she saw in me, but she's like, why don't you post? So I worked up to it. I started posting more frequently. And then I was very intentional. Once I decided to do the business, I was very intentional about learning all that I could to grow on social media. Because at the time I had this belief in myself that I really was socially awkward, but I was also antisocial, didn't really like people. I mean, we're talking really bad material. But the one thing that I did have is that I was coachable. That's the one thing I did have. And I don't quit. So I feel like those are two really, really huge things. You can have somebody, you know, and I've heard a lot of people say, you know, even sometimes it's like, I won't friend people unless they have 500 friends or more. You know, I had like 100 friends. I never posted. If you would have looked at me, you'd have been like, that girl is going nowhere fast. So some of the things that I did to grow myself with social media was Sarah Robbins. She has a online training, and I watched that probably 5 or 6 times. I watched it a lot, and I took notes, and I would try to find everything I could. I asked Liz, I was like, okay, so what do I do? And she was really new too, so we're both kind of just like learning together. And she said, okay, well, just go on Facebook, or not go on Facebook, go on YouTube and just watch as much as you can. So she gave me some names. I went and did that, learned a lot that way. So I went, let's see, I did my first post in January. Then in February, I went silver. So that was my first like exciting, yay, I can maybe do this. And then in March, I went gold. And June, I went senior gold. And I was there for quite a while. I really was there for quite a while. I had a lot of learning to do. I had to grow myself big time, because if I can't lead myself, how can I lead someone else? I had to learn that you cannot expect people to do the work. You are the one that sets the tone for the team. And so I did a lot of personal development, how to win friends and influence people. That's a really great book. I watched a lot of John Maxwell. I think I've listened to all of his audiobooks that were on YouTube. Let's see, Sarah Robbins, Rock Your Network Marketing Business. I have just a ton of books, and I really, really got intentional about it. And I would get so disappointed. I remember, you know, seeing someone else rank up, or Amber Miller made Ruby, or Amber Miller made Diamond, and all these other people watching them. And I was like, I'm not going anywhere. I don't think I can do this.
There's always that like one person that's like the one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I would see Liz ranking up. And I'm just like, is this really real? Can I do this? And Carl and Liz kept saying, like, you really can do this. And I don't know if they were lying to me. And I kind of thought they were lying to me at the beginning, but I was like, all right, we're just going to believe their lies for now. But my husband was a big supporter for me. I would see other people and I would just get so disappointed, you know, in myself, and just like, what am I doing wrong? Why am I not here? And I remember being at the senior gold and looking at Wendy Larson, and she was, you know, a senior ruby. And I was like, oh, I will never get there, but just imagine how cool that would be. And he's like, it's okay, babe, you got that. So he had this belief in me even when I didn't have it in myself. Excuse me.
While you're taking that drink, I'm going to say I would love to come back to this later and not interrupt your story, but sometimes, you know, people don't have that support from their spouse. And so I know that you've had people in your downline, just like I have, that are getting that support from somewhere else, because spouse is not on board and not the one that's believing in them for whatever reason. So not to interrupt your story, but I'm sure you can speak to that.
Yeah, no, definitely. So anyway, looking back now, I can see God's hand in this all and how he was leading and guiding and holding me back. Not necessarily holding me back. I had a lot of growing that I needed to do, because you probably all know Amy Paul. She's on my team. She's my level 1. And she had joined. I joined in December. Amy joined in March. She went silver like her first week, and then was a gold, I think, until December. Didn't hit gold until December. So she was silver for, I think, nine months. And about the time where I was really, really digging and developing myself, I told her, I was like, okay, there's this 6 weeks journey to Maui thing. Let's do it together. And I kept bugging her because I could see what she could do with this if she caught, the vision. And so she's like, fine, I'll do it. And she got into it. She got excited and she started taking off. But if she had done that at the beginning, I would not have been ready. I would not have been able to sustain the growth that she had from her team, the people underneath her. Brooke Hemingway, Emily Gibson, those are on our team. Those are my levels 3 and 4. So incredible growth happened in a very short amount of time. I was just listening to some John Maxwell today, and he said something to the effect about when an opportunity comes and you're not ready, you've already missed it. Like, you have to be ready before then. So this was the Lord preparing me while I felt stuck, while I felt stagnant. This was the Lord preparing me. And so wherever you're at in your business, if you feel like you are stuck, you're not, okay? Keep doing what you're supposed to be doing. Keep learning, keep growing yourself. You are there for a reason, for a time. And instead of whining and complaining about it, just work and get as much out of that time frame as you can, so that when the Lord brings something along, you're ready for it. Because if you are not putting the best that you have into what you have now, why should he give you more? So I had to learn a lot. But when the time was right, I was much more prepared, because the Lord had given me this time to grow myself, and I wasn't just sitting there whining about why wasn't my team working, and why haven't they signed anybody up, and why is my PV going down? I mean, I wasn't even holding senior gold. So anyway, that was a really big thing for me, just learning to grow. So there was a question that was kind of floating around with the jewels. When were you, what rank were you in February of the year that you went Emerald? So the year that I went Emerald in February, I was a senior gold. That much growth happened from February to September when I went Emerald. So it was a lot of growing that happened. And then, so I went to my very first convention as a senior Ruby, a new senior Ruby, and Amy and I were up on stage and we're like, this is awesome. And then I hit Emerald in September. And then we had the back office switch the day after. So people, they say, oh, well, this one's kind of tough, and this isn't working and that isn't working. And I'm like, guys, product is shipping out, okay? We're doing really well. Product is shipping. So we've been through some challenges. This is my second back office switch over, and I am excited about it, honestly. Yes, it's frustrating sometimes. Yes, it's a challenge, but we have these challenges because we are a younger company. We are not oversaturated. Not everybody has heard about us, and we are going through growth spurts, okay? So that's exciting. I would rather have that than to be so stale and stagnant that, it's really kind of hard to do anything with it. So that, I'm really excited. So anyway, I went Emerald in September. Then in, that's right. I missed I missed Sapphire in February by 63 points. I was so upset because the back office wasn't updating enough for me to see like how close I am. So 63 points. So then I went Sapphire in March, and then in May I went Diamond. So from senior gold to Diamond was a little over a year, but I had a lot of growing that I had to do to be able to get to that point to sustain the work that we had. And oh my goodness, I still have a lot of growing to do now, you know, that I'm at a different level. And it's like, okay, now we have to work with balancing our team, growing leaders, still being a mother. I mean, it's a challenge, but I love what I do. Oh my goodness, there is nothing else in the world that I would like. And I am a mother. I have always dreamed of being a mother. I love it and I wouldn't change it. But I have discovered that not always do I like being a mom. Some days I'm just like, okay, go away from me. Don't talk to me. Don't call my name. You know? And so having Plexus, this helps fulfill another side. And it's just really inspiring to be able to be like, okay, I can be home and do this around their schedule. And it just gives me that outlet, you know? So it's been really fantastic. And some things I've learned through this journey, I'll talk a little bit more. And then Angela, if you have questions or whatnot, some things I've learned through this journey is, I guess the biggest thing would be to have your relationships, build your relationships. That's the biggest thing. I've heard that so many times, and I was like, yeah. You're only saying that because you're an emerald or because you're a diamond, you know. But it is so true. It is so true. If you have the relationship with someone, and it is a true, genuine relationship, I'm not talking about you just met them and you friended them because they have a big friends list and you really have nothing in common and you can't really connect with them, but you want them on your team. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about whether these people do Plexus or not. You still like them for them. Being friends with those people, building relationships with those people, because that's genuine. And people can sense, they can smell that insincerity a mile away, and it's disgusting. So being sincere with your relationships, really being intentional with getting to talk to people, getting to know people. And that has probably been the biggest thing, becoming a connector. John Maxwell has a good book that's Everyone Communicates, Few Connect. And I really like that. It's a good book. It gives a lot of stuff, and it just teaches you life skills. Like everybody needs to know how to connect with people, how to influence, because we all influence in one way or another. Is it positive or negative? So anyway, building relationships was really, really something that was key for me. But did you have any questions?
Yeah, you know, I want to add something. Nobody here will be surprised to hear me say that authenticity and building relationships, I feel like, is everything. That can't be emphasized enough. And there's another book that's called Go Givers Sell More, and it's by Bob Berg. And that was a book that when I read that, I said, oh, I can do network marketing, because if you can do it this way, I can do this. So I love that one, and it's along those same lines. I love so much that you said. I had goosebumps multiple times. You have to know that I never heard you tell some of the things that you said, like about being stuck at senior gold for that time frame. Well, I have people that I know have heard that tonight or will hear it in the recording, that is going to speak volumes to them, because I don't think that they, you know, necessarily believe anymore that it's possible. When you get stuck somewhere for a long time, you start thinking, well, I don't know if this is possible for me now, because look how long it's taken and I'm still here. And you know, and I know that that's not true, but it can get in your head a little bit. So really love, these are the points I love that you said, everything, but I don't want people to miss these points. You waited a few months before you even got on the products. I have so many times had people who are like, they just give up on somebody because they told them 2 times, and then 2 times later they didn't join or they didn't order the products. And I'm like, how many people have you heard that watched for months before they joined? So keeping that in mind, that you only joined because there was a sale. It was a Black Friday special. I think that's huge, because so often we kind of overlook that. And I'm always like, no, there's like, you got to scoop that wide net. You've got to get, some people, it's going to take that sale to do it.
Yeah.
That you didn't set up your subscription. I didn't know that piece. So I would love to know, did you just decide to get consistent with it once you got to that place where you were frustrated because the workouts alone weren't working? And that's when you decided to turn it on yourself, or did someone tell you to?
Pretty much. Okay, so again, Liz was pretty new, and I might have been a little bit strong on the whole I'm not going to order every month thing. And she's so sweet and laid back,
Yep.
So anyway, here's this loud mouth little girl, like, I'm gonna get less than that. But I think she explained it like, you're not getting paid unless you have one on.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, oh, okay. And so I turned it on.
Got it.
And
These things are important because I think these are the things that help people to, wrap their mind around what to do and how to talk to people. And because really what's at the root of everybody not moving forward is just fear of what that person's thinking. And where we're sitting there going, I was that person. Like, I was the skeptic. I was I know everything about probiotics girl. And so when we're saying, I was that person and look at me, and I love this company and I love these products. I love that you did not start out as a social media guru, and you grew that and you were able to reach out to people. And that's really exciting to hear about. I heard a little bit about that in your story before, so that was nice to hear you elaborate. And then what did it take to get your first person who really ran with it? And I don't know if that was Amy or someone else, but what did it take, whether that be time or numbers? To tell me a little bit about what it took you to get your first real runner that you were like, oh look, somebody else who is interested in the business.
Honestly, I think probably my mom was my very first customer. And she is a real go-getter. She used to do she did direct sales. And so she already loved the business model. But after her last direct sales, where she was really great and on stage at convention and got the car and all that, and then she stopped, there was no residual.
Okay.
So she saw the compensation plan and she's like, this is completely different. This is exciting. And she actually went silver before I did. She was my first runner. Then she's still doing plexus. She is a senior gold, but she took time off because grandbabies were born. And so it honestly, it worked out really well. Like, she just poured into my kids and loved in them. And so I didn't have necessarily that guilt of their being neglected while I was really running hard. And so now she's like, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm running. And so she's going to rank up this year, and it's going to be great.
Oh, I'm excited to hear that.
I know, but she still had that residual income, even working it and then being senior gold. I mean, she still had it, and she's like, this is fantastic. This is fantastic. Still making $1,000 a month, or whatever.
Yeah.
So she was my very first runner. Then, there was Amy, but she, like I said, she was not a rock star at first until
you saw it in her. So you kept pouring into her, and she was your friend.
Yes, exactly. And she was one of those where I messaged her because she kept talking on Facebook about how she's exhausted all the time and she's taking this, protein shake that's really expensive and going to the gym. Mm-hmm. And her gym instructor is really tough, aka Brooke Hemingway.
That's amazing. Amazing.
And I was like, Amy, you need to try this stuff. And I really didn't even understand what it was. At the time, I was still, researching, but I just started telling people. And so she would see the message and ignore it and just ignore me.
Please, everybody hear those words in surround sound.
Yep. Yeah. She was one of those that she saw it and she ignored it. And then I would ask her other questions about her kids or how's life in Hawaii or whatever, because we knew each other from our church here in Anchorage. And then she moved to Hawaii. So she'd respond to that, and I'd say something else about plexus, and she would just see and ignore.
I love
Why does this girl keep bugging you?
I could not love this conversation more. This is the best thing you could have said, because we're right in the middle of doing a momentum challenge where they're reaching out to people and they're coming back and going, okay, I sent it to this many people, but like they've seen it and they haven't said anything. Yeah.
Yep.
So, perfect
Yep.
timing.
Yep. Nope. It happens to everybody. I should have been like, you know who you're dealing with? I'm a future diamond. And you are too.
And I want everybody to be thinking that now. From now on, I want you thinking when somebody looks at your message and doesn't respond, do you know who you're dealing with? So if you have like 5 more minutes, there's one other part I would love to hear. Do you? What do you have?
Yes, I have plenty. The kids are all napping, so this is perfect.
You are so much fun, and you have already blessed us so much with every word you've said.
That makes me so happy to hear.
It's true. One thing that I would love for you to tell them a little bit about yourself is your background, because we're in a region where the team is bigger than where I am, but we kind of started here in this sort of DC metro area. And so we're in a region where we have lots of people that are super holistic and know a lot of stuff about, just organic and non-GMO and all that stuff. And sometimes they can be a little hardcore and come kind of back at you about what they know about everything.
Yes.
We want to hear that part of your story.
Well, I will say this right up front. Your crunchies are snobs. Your crunchies are snobs. I'm not even kidding. I have some groups that I'm in up here, like the Alaska Natural Mamas, and we're talking hardcore. Like they cut up their placenta and just put it in a blender and make smoothies out of it type hardcore. And I'm like, we are not on the same universe, girl. But being a crunchy person, it's almost a pride thing of the harder it is and the nastier it is and the most difficult and what I can never have, because if I do, let me tell you what will happen. It's kind of a thing of pride. And so you just have to keep sprinkling it in and keep watching and keep sharing and share the crunchy parts, share the testimonies that are from crunchy people. My background is that my dad had these unexplainable things going on with him. So the Air Force sent him all over to all these specialists trying to find what it was, and nothing worked. So they started looking into like the witch doctor stuff, naturopathic, which 20 years ago, that really was considered way out there. And so they started looking into that, and lo and behold, he had food allergies. So he had these intolerances for different things. He couldn't eat it. His body reacted in these big, horrific ways. And that was the start of our journey of like, okay, the medical world isn't doing anything for this. Let's look at what we can do with herbs that God gave us and holistic healing. So we have done a lot of stuff. Dr. Richard Schultz, Dr. Christopher, I don't know if any of those names ring a bell, any of like homeopathics, essential oils, tinctures. Like we would go and get our own stuff and make our own tinctures, kinesiology, like muscles. I mean, we're talking big, hardcore into things. So then my friend tells me about this, thing that's supposed to help with blood sugar, and it's called Plexus, and it's this tacky hot pink catalog. And I was like, don't talk to me about health, girl. And then I was asking her, like, where do the products come from? How are they sourced? Are they organic? All these things. And she had no clue because that's not Liz's personality. So she was like, well, I know some really crunchy people that use this and they stand behind it. So then I'm thinking like, They're not as crunchy as I am, though. So I need to see some details here and some studies. And where are the herbs processed? How are they processed? How, you know? So, I mean, I asked her that question. She looked at me with these big eyes like, but I liked her as a person. Okay. So she had built a relationship with me, and I liked her as a person. And then she did tell me about these other people, and I learned more about it. And my mom had a friend that was a holistic doctor, and she said, hey, have you heard of this before? Here's the ingredients in it. And she's like, no, I haven't, but these ingredients are impressive. And so she is the one that actually explained the importance of insulin in the body. We knew gut health was important. We knew all this other stuff, but we didn't necessarily know the combination of inflammation reduction and gut health and how synergistically everything works so well together. So yes, we were very skeptical because we were the ones that had the $100 probiotic that had to be in the refrigerator at all times. And we're talking 60 billion, and we would take 3 and 4 of those a day. I mean, a lot of money. We knew all the health food store owners by name. I mean, a lot.
And I feel like you're younger than I am, but I know that when I started that whole journey, it was like 1997, and I was in my early 20s, and I had 2 little girls already. So when I had to go find that stuff, even in North Carolina, which is where I was at that time, we were military too. Mm-hmm. But at that time, it was like you had to go into like this dusty, holistic place, and it was dark, and you're like, and all the probiotics were in a refrigerator.
Yeah. I can still remember the smell of all the herbs in this cluttered little store with all these narrow aisles, and it's kind of dark.
When that Wegmans, guys.
Yep. Kind of brings back fond memories now. I've been in.
But I had the same reactions that you did, and so I love for my team to hear that, because I think that's one of the most fear-inducing responses, and I think it's easier for us because we're like, no, don't be scared of that, because we were just like that. We, it's tacky and it's pink and it says Plexus and it's like sparkly. Thank goodness we're not sparkly anymore, because that just was a huge turn off.
I know. That
everything was like pink and black and glitter, and I was like, that cannot be a serious
product. We have come a long ways, and I can't wait to see where we go in the next 5-10 years. I mean,
me too.
We're really, really making huge leaps. I mean, our catalogs are gorgeous. Oh my goodness.
All the branding is.
Yes.
I mean, gosh, even when we go to our events now.
I know.
I actually met Amy when we were senior rubies. I met her at convention. I don't know how I didn't meet you. So you guys must have just been at different sides of the room.
I am still, even at conventions, I'm not the life of the party. That's just not me.
And that's kind of what happened. And she was like, hey.
No, Amy is definitely, I am more of the, if you're in a group of people, like, I'm not the center of attention. I'm probably at the back of the room watching everybody.
Well, now I'm going to find you, so good luck with that. So you've been a blessing to us. I'd keep you for like another hour if I could, but we've taken up enough of your time. I love your story. I love your heart. I just love the way that you tell it and how humble and open you are about everything. I think the thing that we have to hear more of all the time is the places where people get stuck, and that's not when you give up. That's when you lean in. So
no, I had seen a quote by Theodore Roosevelt, and it said, do what you can with what you have where you're at.
Yep.
If you're not doing that, what makes you think that the Lord's going to give you more? So
there was a time we were at church in the past year that was really what it was about, and it just really hit me that, gosh, isn't that the truth in so many things in our lives, that, we want more, and we're kind of not handling what he's already given us. So
exactly.
My team is just, if you look at the chat box, they're loving you. They're appreciating everything that you've shared. And a lot of these people are really, really are runners that have been trying hard for a very long time, and they can sometimes starting to feel defeated. And I know that you've just really blessed us tonight. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you. And I do mean that. Thank you for having me on. I mean, it
love you.
really is an honor to do this. So just think back, think forward, guys. Like someday, just don't quit. Keep learning. And someday you will be at that place where someone's like, Jennifer, I would love to have you talk to my team, or Elaine, or Chandra. And you're going to be like, what do we say?
And just tell your story. Just tell the story of how you got where you got when that day comes, because everybody needs to hear that it's not just this straight shot to the top and there's no
good night. No.
It's, and we all face the same thing. So, well, we have loved having you. We'll have you back anytime you want.
I would love it. I would love it.
All right. It's awesome. All right. I'll see you at convention then.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. It was really nice meeting you.
Bye. All right, everybody, I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much for joining the team call tonight. Make sure that your team comes back and watches the recording of this one, because you know that this is going to really have a huge impact on them, okay? We'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.